Hi, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say on the start of every podcast, these guests are on here for purely selfish reasons because they inspire me, and I love to talk to these people and share their story. So I'm really honoured today to welcome the amazing Stuart Cain. How are you, my lovely?
I'm amazing, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for it.
Well, I need to tell everybody, you blew me away. We were at Aston Villa football ground. I can't remember exactly when it was last year.
September.
September last year.
It's quarter
And you
three.
were, and you were there. And Paul Mort was saying that you were able to find 3 wins on probably the most traumatic day that you've been through. So I thought I've got to get you on here and explain to people exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. And that's good to know that hopefully I've helped somebody or inspired somebody or given somebody a bit of a
Yeah.
nice feeling, a good feeling. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are the founder of Ada's Foundation.
Yeah.
But before we get on to that, what was like before you before life took a turn, shall we say?
Yeah. So I run my own business. I have my own business, a fitness business, but for people who don't like exercise, or didn't like exercise before they came to us. And I guess I always counted myself as kind of an ordinary guy. Like I was in the corporate world till I was early 30s. Started this business, um, love it, really enjoy it, and been my partner Jodie for 10 years. And like most people, have popped a lot of stuff up. I've had some cool moments in my life. Have done some things that probably, well, I never like to say regret, but weren't in my best interests. But I've also, I feel like I've led a relatively comfortable life, to be honest with you. When I was younger, I had a few issues around mental health, but never anything too bad.
Mhm.
And then, I probably, well, I'd say it's 5 years ago, in late 2019, early 2020, so 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I kind of got into the world of life coaching with Paul. If you want to call it life coaching, just guidance, help, support. And I've spent probably the last 4 or 5 years just growing, improving, learning. I believe becoming a better person, however you kind of want to maybe define that. And to be honest, I'm with what happened in December 2022, which we'll go on to. I couldn't be more grateful for whatever it was that made me decide to try and take some kind of control of my life, my emotions, my probably the biggest change is like my ability to not go into victim mode. I used to be really great at that. Like, and with
Yeah,
what happened, that would have been the worst thing I could have done
yeah,
when the traumatic events happened. And thankfully, through training and through what was said to me right at the beginning of the pandemic, actually, when I just started working with Paul, there was a lot of guys who were losing their businesses or having to shut their businesses, and a lot of people just really struggling. And it was said to me that we fall to the level of our training, we don't rise to our expectations during these periods of high stress. And my my kind of level of training at that point was pretty low,
yeah,
and now it isn't, and that's really borne fruit kind of thing. So yeah, I guess I was just an ordinary guy, no kids, wanted kids, but wasn't like my only goal in life. Love to travel, pretty close to very close to my family. My brothers are my best mates. My mum and dad I'm super close to them. And yeah, I guess I hate the word ordinary because I guess none of us are ordinary, but I was just normal,
yeah,
just a normal guy.
yeah,
And yeah, then life changed, and I had the worst day of my life, but the biggest gift of my life in the same very short period of time. Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But let's talk about actually what Ada's Foundation actually does for people before we go into your massive why. So, what do you do for people?
Our aim, if I put it in a sentence or two, is we know that stillbirth and pregnancy loss are going to happen. They're going to happen. My aim in the short term is that if that happens to somebody in Shropshire, the county I live in, that's the best place in the UK that could happen, in the world that could happen, from a point of view of the care, the aftercare, the support, because I believe that that's Ada's legacy. That's her way of making an impact on this earth that she can't do. She's not here. And then overall, raise awareness. And I think it actually links into a bigger picture of overall, like I'd love to see people get better, just generally get better, more equipped at dealing with not so much trauma, just traumatic events, building resilience and understanding, to me, that your life can be defined in a good way by the bad things that happen, not defined so that we become a victim and that we just have in what people would say, oh, I've got a shit life because I lost somebody, or my relationship broke down, or I got a life-changing injury, or whatever. Everyone's got their own things. No one's is better or worse or bigger or smaller, but just that maybe using my experience and hopefully my ability to translate that into normal words, translate that into something not mumbo jumbo hippie stuff, like things that people can actually do just to feel better. Because in the end, as we all know, bottom line is how we feel is all that matters. And whatever goes into that is up to us as individuals. But it's easy to feel like the world's against you when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah,
it really
powerful,
is.
mate. Absolutely powerful. I saw you. Where was you yesterday? I saw on Facebook you were standing there with a big group of people.
I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky through the through the charity and through the hospital, but with the bereavement midwives, I get the opportunity to go and talk to people from our maternity department in our local NHS trust about what it's like to be a bereaved parent, and as part of their kind of ongoing training. So yesterday there was sonographers, midwives, health visitors, community midwives, consultants, and I just get to talk, which I love doing. I love talking. So I get to talk and I get to share my beautiful daughter's name and energy and impact on her behalf. I guess.
Yeah, and you can just tell you're so passionate about it. So let's get into the big why. Where did this all start, my lovely? Because it's a very powerful, sad, but something good has come from it. So take me back to the beginning.
Okay, so I'll take it right back even before Ada. So in December 2019, Jodie and I had a miscarriage at 12 weeks on 11th of December 2019. At that point, I was this was just before I started working with Paul. I was like, you know what? If I'm a dad, great. I'd love to be. If I'm not, it's not the end of the world. There's loads of stuff you can do as a non-parent that maybe you can't do as a parent. Like I was always trying to look on the. I don't want to just pigeonhole myself. And Jodie and I had struggled before pregnant, but we'd been told there was nothing wrong. We'd had tests, there was nothing wrong. So we just assumed, at that point, well, we were unlucky. And then we went into COVID, and actually COVID again was a in some ways a massive gift, because it gave Jodie and I 3 or 4 months where we still had our business, we were still running our business, but where we were forced to sit together with not many distractions and talk and explore. Did we want to try again? Did we want our future to be at some points, even when these things happen, do you see yourself together? Do you see, like, some people lose their relationships over this kind of stuff, and so that really helped us, so there was a gift. And now I'm not saying COVID was a great thing. I know a lot of people suffered and struggled, but for us there was a gift in it for sure. And we then got to 2022, and we just hadn't fallen pregnant. We hadn't, there was not even really any scares. We just didn't seem to be lucky. So we got to the point where we started thinking, are we? I'm 41 now, so I was 39 in 2022, and we were like, maybe we need to go and get more tests. Maybe we need to go get checked out. Something might not be right again. And before we did that, lo and behold, we fell pregnant in the August of 2022. And the first 12 weeks were pretty fraught and pretty nerve-wracking, and please don't let this happen again. We're very aware of our age. Like Jodie's younger than me, but I can say her age. Jodie's 37. She doesn't mind me saying her age. People know. And so, we are aware that, people can have children older than that, no problem. But time does have an effect on these things. And it was a textbook pregnancy from the point of view of the bad stuff as well. Like Jodie was nauseous. She was morning sickness. She was tired. She was fatigued. She had all the hormone stuff. And then we went to bed on a Friday evening in December, normal kind of as anybody that's either been pregnant or got children, Friday nights aren't very wild when you've got a pregnant partner or children. So we went to bed, and at 2 a.m. I got woken up with the words, "Stu, I think my waters are broken." To which point I'm, what's going on? And are you sure? Like, have you wet yourself? Like, what do we know? So we rang the hospital. They said, no, come in. We went in early hours of the morning, and we kind of just were in this holding pattern where they couldn't see that that labor had started or anything like that, but there was more fluid and it wasn't urine. So they were like, okay. We ended up with a scan about lunchtime on the Saturday where they told us that the waters had gone, and we didn't know we were having a boy or a girl, but that just our baby was in this position and there was a little bit of fluid being held just under their chin, and their heart was still beating. Now this was 21 weeks and 2 days into the pregnancy. So slightly, and I hate the word viable because to me, but the point of that kind of before, if they're born at that stage, it's unlikely, very, very unlikely they're gonna live, let alone have any quality of life. But we were told to be cautiously optimistic if we could get to the Monday without Jodie going into labour or falling ill. Maybe fetal medicine and doctors and scientists and things could do something to at least prolong the pregnancy. So we kind of just sat in this delivery suite in the hospital thinking, this is weird. Like, we kind of got no answers. We don't really know what's going on. And then about 7 o'clock, I remember it really vividly. I just got my laptop out. We were quite chilled. Got my laptop out to watch England versus France in the World Cup quarterfinals. The national anthems were being sung, and the doctor came and took Jodie's temperature, and it had spiked.
Right.
At which point okay, so she's starting to get poorly, and we joke, perfect timing, just as the football's starting now. And that would say that tongue in cheek, because obviously I didn't want Jodie to be poorly. And we actually got moved into another room, and it was much nicer, really nice room. Didn't look like a hospital room. Had a TV. I was like, brilliant. Football's on. Jodie seemed okay, other than the temperature. But very quickly, over the next sort of 6 hours, Jodie went downhill quite quickly. Very quickly, and they thought she had sepsis, and she was on the sepsis pathway. They didn't know what was going on, and this point, it's the middle of the night, and I find it difficult because like Jodie was really poorly and kind of being beside her, and there's lots of people in there. So I just kind of made my way home, got some stuff. I knew what we needed, and got back in an hour later. And kind of as the sun was coming up on that Sunday morning, Jodie started to get cramps and kind of contractions and things. And so at that point, we knew our baby was going to be born soon. But our head was still like, keep the baby alive till Monday, keep her alive till Monday, keep the baby in there. And actually to the point where, and this is where I really understood that I appreciate frankness from people. And people telling you as it is, and our coach will always do that for us, we know that. We know that. But I said, look, come on, we've got to save this baby and keep it going to Monday. And the midwife had to say to me, you'll only ever have one Jodie. You could have another child. If this baby stays inside her and it's not supposed to be, she'll die. Like, she'll die. Something will happen, and that's the starkness of it. And interestingly, Jodie and I had been on a walk about a week earlier, and I'd said, imagine we got to the situation, right? Like, where you hear these horror stories and I'd have to choose between you and the baby. Like, we were just kind of joking. Jay said, who would you choose? And I was like, well, I'd choose you because, like, I know I like you. That baby might be a little arsehole for all we know. Like, joke about that, obviously. But it got to the point where 3 o'clock in the afternoon, well, 3:38 exactly. Our baby was born. And she never took a breath. She was born sleeping. So I was sitting there as a complete spare part, seeing your partner in pain. The midwives were amazing. I didn't know what I was going to see. I was like, I've never seen a 21-week-old baby. Is it going to horrify me? Am I going to be disgusted? Am I going, etc. And the midwife nodded over Jodie. Jodie was on all fours, kind of delivering the baby, nodded over the baby, just this look that told me, can come around here. It's okay. She's not alive. Like, we didn't know it was a girl still at that point. And so, she was like less than a kilo in weight. She was tiny, bigger than we thought, but small, delicate, looked like a normal baby, just never opened her eyes because their eyes don't open at that stage. And I sat with Jodie, we held her together, and we decided on the name Ada, which was on our shortlist, but wasn't our first choice. We thought we'd save the first choice in case of another thing. And actually, the reason we called her Ada, it was kind of perfect. The name Ada came from Peaky Blinders, not because we liked the character, just we heard that name on Peaky Blinders and we liked it. And when she was born, they put her in a little dress and this little bonnet hat thing, and it just made her look like someone out of Peaky Blinders. We said, right, Ada's her name. And in that moment was the most beautiful and most sad moment of my life. in one foul swoop kind of thing. And yeah, the next 6 days we spent kind of with her. She was in a cold cot next to us. Without being too kind of frank or graphic, I guess, there was a fridge outside of the suite. The suite we were actually in was called the bereavement suite. We didn't know it at the time, but obviously that's why it was there.
Yeah.
There was a little fridge. So overnight, after a couple of days, she would go in like her little bedroom, so she would be preserved, and then we'd have her out because we could cuddle. The team at the hospital were quite remarkable. How the NHS, you hear all these stories, and it's never about the people, it's about the system, about the money, about things. We never once felt like we were a pain in the bum. We never once felt like they were too busy. They spent hours with us talking things through. So I always say, like, our medical care was world class. The pastoral care, if you want to call it that, I don't know, the kind of
Yeah.
support care was world class. The only thing that was missing, and this is not the NHS's responsibility, but the only thing that was missing was practical support. And what I mean by that is, again, people who have, this would be the same for people who have given birth to babies at term and things and what have you, is there's a lot of bleeding. You don't have your bag packed when you're 21 weeks
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah.
So we didn't
Yeah.
take anything in. You know, electric toothbrushes, first world problems, but electric toothbrushes run out of charge. You haven't brought the charger in. And Jodie and I are very lucky. We have a car. We're not flush with money, but if we need something, we can nip to the shop and get it. My mum and dad live just around the corner from the hospital, so they could drop things around. So anything Jodie needed, from new underwear, some pajamas, silly little things like hand cream and like a hair bobble and a hairbrush, just to feel human. Puzzle book, like with Sudoku and word search, stuff to do.
Yeah.
Because she had her physical recovery as well as our emotional recovery. There was none of that. There was nothing, but we could go and do that. We could go and get it. I could drive around the corner, etc. And I just kind of started thinking to myself, what if this was like a young girl, 19 years
Yeah.
old, hasn't got a partner, parents don't live nearby, she's living in a strange town, or what if it's a couple who don't drive and they've got to pay for a taxi every time they want to go and get something? And so we kind of started to formulate this idea of maybe we could provide that in Ada's name. And it actually got to the April afterwards, and we went to supply these first boxes. We contacted the bereavement midwives, the hospital, and they said somebody's already doing it. And it
Right.
turns out that if we'd have had Ada 1 week later, we'd have received one of their boxes. So we would never have thought of doing this. We might have done something different, but we would never have thought of doing this. And we got in touch with a really lovely couple, amazing couple called Ben and Martha, who'd lost their boy George. Similar circumstances, slightly different, but similar. And we joined forces with them. They have their little kind of charity, Love from George. We have our charity, a little charity, Ada's Foundation. And between us, we provide what we call support boxes. That anytime anyone has this happen, they get given one of those. It's got resources in it, like podcasts that helped us, and a couple of books, hot water bottle, just bits to make it feel a bit more comfortable. And we've put some stuff in the room, like fans because it's boiling in that room, and coffee vouchers. So there's a little canteen in the hospital, so people can just go and get a coffee and get a bit of space. And that's where it kind of started, and we've now grown. We're helping early pregnancy now with people who have miscarriage, not just later pregnancy loss. We're looking at doing various things within a little memorial thing near the hospital. I'm in the process of creating a journal for bereaved dads, because that was one of the things that massively helped me, was journaling, which I already did, but it was in my toolbox. And even to the point where we had to make the decision, and this was tough. This was tough. We had to make the decision with Ada to either let the hospital, for want of a better, and I hate this word, but it's kind of what they do, is dispose of the remains. And there's a memorial garden, not just for babies, but there's a quiet reflection garden at the hospital, Captain Tom's Garden, I think it's called, where that's kind of where you'd go and remember your baby, or we could pay for a private funeral. That was our choice. And what we discovered was that if your baby is 24 weeks or onwards, up to the age of, I think it's 16 or 18, the government give you a grant for a funeral. It doesn't necessarily cover the whole cost, but it's a good proportion of it. Because Ada was almost 22 weeks, we didn't get that. So we had to pay for a private funeral. Now, I'm not talking thousands and thousands of pounds here, but it was 500 quid, 600 quid. And I would hate for anybody, and one of my aims and one of my missions is that we'll be able to create a funeral grant where
Right.
somebody who doesn't have the means to pay for a funeral doesn't have to make that decision. Now, our funeral was literally a casket, a limousine, me and Jodie, 3 songs, no like celebrants, no congregation, nothing. It was just us and a private thing. But I'd hate for someone to have to make well, not be able to make that choice and just have to go and settle for
Yeah.
the one that they didn't want to. So things like that. We want to raise awareness. We want to, even down to something we're really pleased and really proud of, which was such a simple change. But and we found this through Ben and Martha. 3 weeks after it happened, Jodie got a phone call from her GP just checking in, is everything okay? How are you doing? And as you know from conversations we've had in the past and the circles we move in, I am exceptionally passionate about mental health in men and women, but obviously men. I am a
Yeah.
man, if I'm allowed to say that. I am a man.
Yes.
That's what I identify as anyway. I didn't get any checkups, any check-ins. No one checked in on me from a medical point of view. And actually, Ben, and he doesn't mind me saying this, Ben, and I'm sure he'll listen to this. He had to go for some tests when they got pregnant again, at the doctor's, and the doctor didn't know. He had to tell the whole story when it went into the GPs. And so now we've managed to get, certainly at our hospital, the bereavement midwives, with the consent of the father, ring the GP of the dad and say, this is what's happened. So it goes on
Right.
their notes. So their
Yeah. Yeah.
GP is aware, or can make a check-in phone call, or it's recorded, which is really important because, as we all know, men tend to kind of keep quiet and try not to be a pain and a bother and things. And actually, hopefully, Ben and I have managed to, with the help of the midwives, take a little bit of that burden away from men in having to make the first phone call or the first step.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm quite proud of, actually. It's a simple change. It's not actually cost any money.
Yeah.
It's done nothing to do with the fundraising, but it's,
And
yeah.
that's, I mean, I know when we spoke before, because it's it shouldn't be, but it is. When something happens like this, all kind of attention goes on mum,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you're grieving as well. I know we
Mm.
spoke a lot about this. How, when you got home from the hospital, bearing in mind that's the second time,
Mm.
that things had gone wrong in this area.
Yeah.
How the hell do you process it together and then process it on your own?
Mm. Yeah. So we came home 6 days after Ada was born, which weirdly was on the 11th of December as well. So both babies we lost on the
Yeah.
same day.
Mm,
And so, you come home and everything's a whirlwind of emotions. It's like people know, because at a miscarriage, you can kind of, not a lot of people know you when you're 12 weeks pregnant. That's normally when you tell people. So everybody knew. And, I believe we're quite good people. We have a business with 150 members who are pretty much all friends as well now, have become friends, family, people who know us. I'm not saying high profile, but people who know us. And we so a lot of people knew there was no escaping it. Like we couldn't, like with the miscarriage, we could kind of escape it by going and being around people that didn't know. Whereas this,
yeah.
everybody knew. Like when somebody loses a parent or something, something like people know. And so when we got home, we were quite fortunate in some ways that we got home and it was the week before the Christmas week when we got home. So we kind of, everyone knew we were having some time off. We kind of came home, shut the curtains, shut the door, and just kind of, for want of a better word, existed. Watched TV. I probably had a few too many beers, not to the point of getting drunk, but just more beers than I would like to be having every evening. It wasn't even numbing it. It was just a habit. It was like something to do. And going to bed at 3 a.m. instead of going to bed at 11, waking up late. And then it was Christmas week where no one expects anything from anybody anyway. We tried to have as normal a Christmas as we could, in that we don't normally go round and see my nephews or our nephews and things. My mum and dad actually went away. One of my brothers lives in America, so we were able to have a pretty low key Christmas. We had a Christmas dinner. We watched films, and then to be perfectly honest, we didn't really talk about it that much in that first couple of weeks. We
Right.
expressed when we were sad, or like we would walk into and go, "Yeah, this is shit," or like this, like I just wish how beautiful was she? I just wish, things like that. But we didn't discuss our feelings massively. Jodie's a very quite closed book. I'm more open. You wouldn't catch Jodie doing a podcast. But we do open up to each other. One of our strengths is our communication. 100%. That's probably our biggest strength as a couple is we do communicate and we understand the importance of it. For all of our other faults and things, that's important. And then it became this kind of thing where the 3rd of January came along and I had my purpose again. I was able to, I was like, right, I'm getting back into the business. Charity idea was starting to form. And I am definitely someone who needs a purpose, needs to be doing stuff. I struggle when I just sit there. I become very much like, well, I've got nothing to do tomorrow, so I'm allowed to eat shit and drink tonight
Yeah.
because I don't have to get up super early. And again, I don't deal very well with hangovers, so I'm not talking about getting drunk. That doesn't do anything for my mental health at all. But it was just this, when you kind of exist, you don't really,
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like a
you don't
loop.
really, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're just like every day's the same. I'm just watching a different episode of the next show I'm on and all of this kind of stuff. And so I got back into that. And what I found I was doing is Jodie and I kind of we didn't need to talk in depth about our feelings. We just both knew we both had the room to talk about them or to share them or to be sad or to be happy. That just was how it went. And I'd be lying if we sat there and really soul searched. Of course, we did get into discussions about I wonder if we'll ever know why it happened, or like, do we want to have children? Could we go through that again? That kind of discussion. But it wasn't really discussing our feelings as such. And actually, to me, that's a big lesson with this whole like it's mental health awareness week this week of
Yeah.
like talk, talk, talk. And I put a thing on my Instagram yesterday, and someone said, "Why do men not talk?" Two people actually, two separate people don't know each other said, "Why do men not talk?" And I've got to answer those questions on there later. But to me, I don't necessarily think it's talking that matters. It's talking with an intent to have a result to me that's important. So, like, if we're talking and saying, like, do we want to have children? Do we want to try again? Like, we can discuss the pros and cons and how we'd feel if it went wrong again, or could we deal with it again? And to me, that's talking with intent and purpose, not
Yeah.
just talk and go, I feel sad. Well, yeah, like that's just an emotion. Same as I feel happy, I feel angry, I felt all of those things all at once. Like I could, but actually talking with an intent. And what I found myself doing, Jodie had the physical recovery, so she was at home a lot. She does her crying in private, not really in front of me. Probably in 10 years, I've heard her or seen her cry 4 or 5 times. She does her crying in private. She needed that time alone to heal, even from the people super close to her. When she lost her mum, it was very similar. She needed that time. That's how she deals with it. I went busy, 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 and then what I found myself doing was getting to the weekend and going, right, I've earned the fact I can. And sometimes it was Jodie, sometimes with friends. Go and have a few drinks, watch the football. Sunday I won't do anything because I'm going hard at it Monday to Saturday, Monday all the way through to Saturday lunchtime. And it got to about March, and I was like, I can't do this. This is not good. It's not healthy. Got to the stage where I ended up going out and having a couple too many drinks with Jodie and a couple of friends and things, and letting down another friend who I was supposed to be going to watch football with. And football is my passion. Tottenham, sadly, are my team. And I let somebody down who I was supposed to be going down with. And in that moment, I was like, that's got to stop. One, I don't like letting people down. Two, I love football. Something's
Yeah.
not right if I'm not going down to the football. And I made the decision to cut out alcohol for 3 months. Just cut out alcohol, and try and have more, for want of a better word, balance. So bring a bit more charity stuff in, focus a little bit more on myself, and go look, just work at ordinary speed with the business, not 1,000 miles an hour with the business to bury myself in my purpose. Um, and that really that kind of sorted me out. By the summer, then I was sort of knee deep in getting ready for the challenges that I did for Ada's Foundation last year, which involved a lot of physical training and having to look after myself. Jodie had started to kind of come out of her real mourning kind of phase,
Yeah.
and started to be a bit more, I won't say a bit more herself because that is her, but just a bit more life to her, a bit more of her sparkle back. She's the strongest and bravest woman I know, and I'm so fortunate to have her by my side through things like this. And then yeah, fast forward, did those challenges, and then in October found out we were pregnant,
Yeah.
which we'd never really discussed. We'd said we would like to have children, but we don't know if we could cope with losing another one, and we had never purposely, we said we're not going to try because every time we tried, we were never successful. It just hit us by surprise. So we just
Right.
said, look, let's just live our lives, try and do the things that make us happy. We went on a little holiday with our friends up to the northeast of England to Whitby, which is a place we love. We'd been the year before, and actually we were pregnant with Ada and didn't know when we were there the year before. So
Right.
yeah, and we spent the year going through all the firsts: first Father's Day, first Mother's Day, Ada's due date, which was in April. First when it was the first Christmas, the first Easter, just the first everything. And yeah, and then we're pregnant, and the rest the rest is history. As
Yeah.
he's here now.
Yeah,
So
and congratulations.
thank you.
That
Yeah.
they must have been an immense amount of fear on
Yes.
that third time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like for both of you as well. And
Mhm.
obviously, being pregnant, the worst thing you could do is you need to keep calm and be. How
Yeah.
do you manage that for a third time? Because the second time's
Yeah.
like hard enough, right? To
Yeah.
be doing
Yeah.
this a third
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
like,
And it's mad because with this, for me, when we had the miscarriage at 12 weeks, I'd heard of miscarriage. I'd heard of miscarriage. I knew what it was, and I knew it was relatively common. I didn't realize it was common as 1 in 3, 1 in 4, but I knew it was common.
yeah.
Once we got past 12 weeks with Ada, we never once thought we're not going to have a baby. You're in the
Yeah,
clear. You never. I didn't know stillbirth. I didn't know what it was. Like,
yeah.
I just didn't know. And even to the point where when we took photos of Ada when she was born, and I said about like when we set up the charity page, am I okay to put like a picture? We won't show her face. We're quite passionate about that. But putting like, because it's a dead body. Like I'd
Mm-hmm.
never even seen a stillborn child before. So it never crossed my mind. Your whole life becomes about this exciting future of what school are they going to go to? What are they going to be like? Are they going to have brown hair, blonde hair? Are they going to be a boy, a girl? Are they going to like football, or are they going to be into another sport? Are they going to like dance? All of that. And that's your whole life is your future. You almost don't live in the moment because you're so
Yeah,
wrapped up in
yeah,
the
yeah,
future. Get the house ready, get this done. What? And we couldn't do that on this pregnancy because we were
yeah,
too scared. Jodie and I had different emotions. Jodie had all the physical symptoms, all the hormonal stuff. Like I am so glad I'm a man. We have things so simple, don't we? I know, with regards to things like hormones, I know testosterone levels and all that, but like Jodie going through all of that. And again, I could carry on running the business. I could carry on doing all these things, almost distract myself from the fear. Jodie couldn't because every time she put her hand on her tummy, every time she felt nauseous, every time she felt tired, she knew why. And um, the only tip I can give anybody, and actually this really has taught me a massive lesson for life, to be honest, is I can only take it every day as it comes. Like
yeah,
we tried to just go, what's tomorrow? And then if we needed to look a little bit further ahead, we just created these milestones. That it's like, right, we need to get to the first scan, which was like 7 weeks because we had an early scan. Then we need to get to this point. Then it was like, right, we've got the 12-week scan. Then we've got a meeting with a consultant who's a specialist in preterm labor and preterm birth. Then it was kind of things like, all right, my birthday's in November. That's around the corner. Let's get to that. Then we had the 11th of December, the like big X on the calendar
yeah,
where we had the morning of our 2 losses and the fear. Like we genuinely both sat there all day thinking, please don't go into labor. Please don't go. Like it's going to happen today.
yeah,
And then on the 12th of December, it's like we've never been pregnant on the 12th of December before. Right. Next milestone. And the next milestone was Christmas Day. Then it was like because we've never been pregnant at Christmas. Then we've never been pregnant and having a baby this year. So the 1st of January was the next milestone. It was just taking those milestones and that broke it down into something where it was like, we can't allow ourselves to get too excited. But
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I was excited.
yeah,
I'm a natural optimist. To me, both times it went wrong were inexplicable. And this is a really interesting point for me with that myself and Jodie. For me, we got told that the miscarriage was just they happen. Ada, for once, without going into loads of detail, it was bad luck. There was nothing mechanically wrong with Jodie's body. There was nothing that we did during the pregnancy that caused any trauma or injury. It was just an infection that happens,
yeah,
and it's the same as somebody who catches a cold and somebody who doesn't. Like it happens. To me, that was a huge comfort. My logical brain was like, right, well, there's
yeah,
always a chance with everything. Like if I step on a plane, there's a chance that there could be some bad luck.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah,
stop me stepping on a plane. For Jodie, it was completely therefore out of her control. She became
yeah.
she
So
to
she
the
had
point
no
where she was
reason
like,
why.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
she was like, Jodie's a very clean person. Like she couldn't believe like it took COVID to make people wash their hands. For example, she was like,
yeah,
and so every time she left the house, she was scared of
yeah,
like touching the wrong door handle or like whatever where there might be a germ. And so it again it led us down very kind of different ways of dealing with it. And then to be honest, that approach has really helped us now with Albie being born 10 weeks early.
yeah,
You can't. We were told to aim for his due date, which is 29th of May. And he was born on the 18th of March. So that's a long time.
yeah,
But again, we haven't let ourselves get too much like, is he? We did it once. We thought, oh, we might be coming home early. And then he took a little downturn. He was fine, but he took a little downturn. And at that point, we were like, if anybody says earlier than the 29th of May, the only time we'll believe it is when we're walking out of that hospital with a car seat. Like, we will just take, let's see how he is tomorrow. Let's see how he is the next day. And again, it sounds really strange when you say to people don't get too excited, because excitement is an amazing emotion. I love
Yeah.
feeling excited. I love, like, I was excited about coming on speaking to you today. I was excited about talking to the maternity department yesterday. But that's the thing to get excited about. Just get excited about what's like something every day.
Yeah.
Like, what can I get excited about? What can I look forward to? Like, my most excited most days the last 8 weeks has been seeing Jodie and Albie, because Jodie's been living at the hospital. Like that,
Yeah.
like, just get excited about seeing them. Don't get like, because in the end, like, he's going to come home at some point. Why am I waiting for 10 weeks to get excited and happy? Like, be happy in the moment, be excited in
Yeah.
the moment. And on that pregnancy journey, yes, there's fear, but the fear is because something wonderful could happen and
Yeah.
has now happened. So get excited in those days, in those moments. And that's what led me to those 3 wins on the day that Ada was born.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
So
she
just
was,
out of interest,
yeah.
what were the 3 wins?
I think the 3 wins that day were, I got to meet my daughter. I
Yeah.
got to see my daughter. Um, I I got to kind of have a family moment for the first time ever, where we had Ada with us. And I think the third win was, I saw my parents that morning. I went for a walk with them before Jodie went into labour, like, and it was just great, because they're very close to me, and just being able to see them. They were my 3 wins. And
That's amazing.
and I try to say to people when I'm coaching people, like, sometimes your wins might be getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, and having 3 meals that day. If your mental health is in the toilet, those three
Yeah.
things, like, don't compare them with other people. And also, like I said, I've had 4 or 5 years training at doing these wins.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think I'm proud of myself for doing it.
Yeah.
But one of the things I don't want people to think is, I don't want, it would be very easy for me to go, well, I did it on the day my daughter was born. Why can't you find 3 wins on a random Thursday? Well, I've had that training. I've been fortunate enough to, or well, it's not. It's by design. I've tried
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
design my life so that I can be grateful. Like, it's the other thing. Like, every day I try and show gratitude to somebody, and that's not because there is a selfish element to that, but it comes back to me tenfold. It
Yeah.
comes back to me
I love-
tenfold, and like, I'm not gonna lie. I love people praising me. I love people thanking me. I love, like,
Mm.
I'm selfish in that respect. But I've had training to do that. So, but you can only start. It's like somebody who can't run
Yeah.
expecting to run a marathon. Like, just go for like 1 minute, or
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
for a walk, or go
Yeah.
and just build up and just get better at it. And my life is better for doing that. Like, it's just a better life. I don't know how to.
I love that. Just
Yeah,
being grateful, having something exciting every day. You know, because a
yeah,
lot of people don't, do they? They just
yeah.
go through and yeah, yeah. It's like,
And all
what's
they
gone
look
well
forward to
today?
is
Were you
Friday.
excited?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they look forward to Friday, and it's like, well, yeah, Friday will be cool, but what about Monday?
Yeah.
Like, well, what
I
about Monday?
want you.
But yeah,
I want you to tell me about this amazing challenge that you did.
oh God. Well, I don't like to joke about this, but I feel like I've got PTSD now. I haven't. So we wanted to raise money, and I was really keen that I wanted Ada's Foundation not to just be a fundraising thing for a year or 6 months, and I wanted, like everybody does, their child's life and legacy to mean something, and to have something more than just, well, yeah, we were unfortunate enough to lose our daughter, and yeah, we raised a cool bit of money for her. So that's why we set it up as a charity, and then, rather than just a fundraising effort. And so I thought to myself, what do I not like doing? Because if I do stuff that I don't like doing, people are going to give me money to do it. So I've always thought, I don't like going for a walk just for the sake of going for a walk. If you say to me, shall we walk to that place, take some food and have a picnic, or shall we walk to the pub, to that place to get lunch, you know, shall we
Yeah.
walk along the beach and then go in the sea? Cool, like, all for it. But going for a walk for the sake of it, I don't want to. So I thought, let's set a challenge where I have to walk. Let's see what I can do. So we did the 3 peaks. We failed. Well, no, we did fail to do it in 24 hours, but we did the 3 peaks, and we raised a bit of money. And then we've got a local hill near us, 400 meters, 400 meters
Wow. Yeah.
climbing, 400 meters of elevation on Strava or on whatever you record it on. And I thought, well, that's everyone in our area knows that's quite a tough, you can do it, but it's quite a tough thing. Why don't I set a challenge around that? Let's see. And then without really thinking, I'd been talking to the bereavement midwives a lot. And in 2022, the year that Ada was born, there was 89 families, including ourselves, that
Right.
used that bereavement suite and had a late pregnancy loss, a stillborn, or I think after 16 weeks, basically. So I thought to myself, well, let's do some maths. And it turned out that doing up and down the Wrekin 20 times was 89 kilometers. So a kilometer for every family.
Right.
And it almost equaled the height of Everest. Now,
Oh.
I'm not going to say that it was as difficult as climbing Everest at all, but I thought to myself, right, well, let's try and do that in 24 hours. I can do it up and down in an hour. So I can do it 20 times in 24 hours. And I didn't really give it any other thought other than I'm doing it and I'm going to do it on this weekend.
Mhm.
That's when I'm going to do it. And then, and again, that taught me, if I step away from that a second, quite a big lesson of like, if I'd have overthought that and gone, right, how am I going to do it? Is it possible? How many miles an hour is it? Et cetera, et cetera. And like, I would never have set it as a goal. And we would never
Right.
have raised, I think, 6 grand or whatever it was we raised in the
Wow.
end from that
Yeah.
event. And I told a few people about it. In fact, on the quarterly, the Through Dark quarterly last year,
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up walking alongside Matt Brindley, who I love to pieces, who's another of Paul's clients, and he asked what this challenge was that I'd been talking about on Facebook. He said, "Right, I'm gonna come and do it with you."
Oh
And fair
wow.
play to him.
Yeah.
I went and did probably for 2 months every day. I went and did at least one. The most I ever did back to back was 3.
Right.
But I just went and did it and got out there walking and looked after my diet and trained at the studio as well. And Matt came and did the Wrekin twice,
Right.
twice
Okay.
ever. And then came and did the challenge with me. And we set off at 5 o'clock in the evening on a Friday night. And we just started walking up and down. And I never thought I'd see the day where the upwards was the recovery. Because the downwards, my knees were
Oh.
shot. I felt every single one of my 40. I was 40 at the time, 40 years old at that point.
Mm.
Like that was minging. And we did the first, I think the first 7 we did in an average time of 53 minutes each up and
Mhm.
down. The last, when we'd completed the challenge and got to the top for the 20th time, it took us 25 hours and 15 minutes. So we were out. So we were an hour and 15 minutes out. It took me 1 hour and 55 minutes to come back down the last time with a walking stick, with a crew of people around me. Like I've never, I wouldn't say I probably have never known physical pain like that, just in my knees.
Mm.
But I was dog tired and exhausted
Yeah. Yeah.
and fatigued, but the pain in my knees. But that was the challenge, and we and we did it, and we raised a lot of money. And Matt was amazing, and yeah, there's some Ring doorbell footage of me the following day going to my friend's house, and honestly, you'd have thought I was 90 years old, but it was amazing, and I learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about teamwork. I learned a lot about it. I've always seen the good in humanity and in people. I generally wear rose tinted glasses on the whole. I'm not particularly cynical. I'm not particularly, which has its disadvantages as well. But it made me realize in my life and in my local community, I am surrounded by amazing, amazing people who are willing to put themselves out just because their friend's doing something or somebody they know
Yeah.
is doing something. Like the donations, the support. We had people, and I'm not going to name this person. She'll know if she listens who it is. Who, a lady in her 60s, who I have an immense amount of admiration and love for, who I'd known a year at this point, who has various challenges around their mental health and anxiety and fear and panic and things, who came like middle of the night, pitch black, walked a quarter of the way up this hill to sit and man the support area because she wanted to contribute and wanted to make sure that we completed that challenge. And things
Yeah.
like that just made me think, again, no one's challenge is bigger than anyone else's. That
Yeah.
person's challenge, there's some people walked up it once. Some people walked up it 7, 8, 9 of those times. For some people, walking up it once was a bigger thing than me doing it 20 times. And it
Yeah.
just blew me away that for my daughter and for and to me, that was, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't believe in anything afterlife. That's just my beliefs. I don't mind if other people do. That's cool. I do believe that there's an energy, and Ada left behind an energy which is living out through me, but she brought those people together. She pushed those people, including myself, out of our comfort zones. That was her. That was all her. That wouldn't have happened. And I was cursing her. Don't get me wrong. There was times when I was like, if you were here right now, I would not be doing this. I wish you were here that I could tell you I was peed off with you. But you know, and it also led me to understand the power of leverage and public accountability and personal pride. Like I will not mind admitting that my life has been one of those things where I find most things easy. I'm not boasting about it. I could turn my hands. I wasn't amazing at sports, but I could turn my hand to most sports. I could pick up a tennis racket and hit a ball if I needed to. I can play football. I didn't find school particularly challenging. I didn't get amazing grades because probably I was a bit lazy with it, but I can do most things. I can pick up most things. Um, some more successfully than others, but I can pick up most things. Um, but I think that made me a little bit lazy. I think there's times where I've
Yeah.
gone, do you know what? That's going to be a bit tough. I'll find a reason not to do it, or I'll start it and I won't finish it. And even to the point, and it's on a slightly separate note, my mum had this joke with me where when I was younger, where I was like, I was going to tidy my room, I was going to do this, I was going to do, and I'm definitely an ideas person as well. I'm not so much of an
Yeah, yeah.
execution person. And the fact that this went in the local paper, there was somebody from Paul's coaching there, like doing it with me, so who I respect the people who are in Paul's universe hugely. And my reputation with those matters. My clients knew about it. They were there supporting me. That public accountability, I would be lying if I said on those last 4 or 5 where the pain was getting really bad, that it was Ada that took me to the top. Yes, I was doing it in her memory and to raise money for other people, but it was the fact that I didn't want to be that guy anymore who just quit,
Yeah. Yeah.
who just
I
quit.
love that.
But the challenge is now, because I'm not that guy anymore, I haven't got that out anymore. If I set myself something, I've got to do it. To the point where this year I committed to doing a marathon because I hate running. That's the next thing I hate. I don't like running. I just like short, sharp exercise, playing
Mm.
football, doing a bit of hit training. That's good for me. I'm by no means an athlete. And I set the marathon and I actually set myself to do the Edinburgh Marathon, which is not this weekend coming up, the weekend after. And that was the due date of our baby. And so I had to pull out of that marathon kind of secretly because no one knew. And so I
Yeah.
set myself one to do in April, and actually April the 21st. It's Stratford, and I started training in January, and I was about 6 weeks into my training, and I hated it. It was
Right.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
recovery from it. It was long runs. It was boring. I'm very much a be around other people kind of person. I like that's why I like team sports. Our business is group coaching, not
Yeah.
individual.
So it's a
Um,
lonely journey on a marathon, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd got about halfway through the training plan, and we were what at that point 3 months away from having a baby.
Mm.
And I said to Jodie, a couple of friends, and my accountability group, I'm not going to do the marathon. These are my reasons. I'm not going to run it. Like I don't want to spend 7 of the 12 weeks I've got till my life changes forever doing stuff I don't like. I'm just gonna call it quits. I've not raised any money. And thankfully, 2 or 3 people within that circle said, hold on, you told us after the recon you were no longer the quitter. Like, what do you mean? What's going on? That's not good enough. To which point I said, yeah, thanks for your feedback. And then proceeded to think every word under the sun about them. That was on a Thursday. So on the Friday, I went and bought myself some snacks, plotted a little route. And on the Saturday morning, I went and ran a marathon around my local, just like on my own, do the same loop
Mm.
4 times as well, about 6.5 mile loop. And did it. And I just put up on
Wow.
Facebook that I'd done it, and here's my fundraising link. And I raised about 300 quid, which was amazing. And I don't think if I hadn't have done the recon, I would have had the out. I would have had the way. So now I've got
Yeah.
to be really careful what I set myself. Because I can't
I was
say,
about to say, because your brain now knows that you can do it, like, so you
yeah,
really
Matt,
got no
yeah, well,
excuse.
yeah, Matt Brindley and I talked about that at the quarterly because it was the Villa quarterly that was after that event.
Yeah,
Just after that event. And we spoke about it, and we were like, everything's changed.
yeah,
Like we did something with no real plan. Like we had a bit of a plan around like fueling ourselves and keeping our feet in good nick and things, but we just said here's a goal. Can we do it? Let's try. And we did it. And it was through sheer bloody mindedness and trying our best. And it changed the landscape for us. We were both like, what the hell's possible now? Like,
Yeah.
what can we achieve? And actually, I think one of my biggest challenges now is one, finding things that challenge me enough physically, because I think I value growth. I believe that's a
Yeah.
value of mine. And therefore, like, doing something like, to me, a marathon, well, that was half the distance and there was no elevation. Am I taking a step back? But then there's not much more. Like, I can't go and run ultra marathons till I'm like competing with Goggins. That's not for me. That's like not my not my thing. So it's trying to make sure that I manage, not just transfer that over into other goals I set across like family and finance and my mental health and everything else, but actually in my physical goals, like not being put off by something because it's not as big.
Yes.
If you see
Yeah.
what I mean, that like I can't, we can't forever like I could say, right, every year I'm going to do it one more time than the year before, but that would be boring.
Yeah.
So there was lessons, but there's also warnings from that, like
Hmm.
that experience and the come down afterwards. And because my next event was supposed to be Everest in October, but I injured my knee, um, and we fell pregnant a couple of weeks before I was due to go. But that knee injury from the Wrekin just sort of stopped me, and I'm glad in a way because it meant I could be here during the early parts of the pregnancy, because 17 days is a long time to be away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, now it's like, right, well, what next? And I've also got to take into consideration that I've got a baby now. Training, like I can't be as selfish as I once was. Like, which is
That's
cool.
it.
Like, but I can't
Yeah.
be. I can't be.
You're going to be very
Yeah.
busy, mate. What are
Hmm.
you looking forward to the most about being a dad? Because he's hopefully coming home at the weekend, isn't he? So
Well, hopefully, yes, yes. I'm sure by the time people listen to this, he will be home. I would
yeah, yeah,
hope.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and for me, there's a number of things. One, I love having an impact and an influence and being able to be an example to people and pass maybe knowledge and experience on. And who better than my own, well, I didn't care whether it was son or daughter, but my own son, like that's one thing. Um, I love seeing other people win as well. Like I get a real
Mhm.
buzz from seeing other people. And like Jodie told me in the days after Ada was born, Jodie and I have we've always had this clash where I love to set my goals every quarter and then I dial them down into weekly goals and what's my life got. Jodie has never been on board with that. She's been on board with my goals. She's supported me amazingly, but she never sets her own. And I've always for 10 years been like, Joe, like, come on. There must be something you want to achieve. She's like, nah, not. It's cool. I just want to. She's very laid back. She's very chilled. And then he just turned to me a week after Ada was born, maybe 2 weeks. And I said, right, we need to sort ourselves out. We need to we can't just exist. We need to kind of take
Yeah,
baby
yeah,
steps. Why don't we try and like set a goal of maybe going on a trip or and she said, Stuart, I've realized what it is. I don't have any other goal other than being a mum. And that broke my heart. But
yeah,
also it was a great lesson. It was a great lesson. And actually now I'm super excited about seeing Jodie be a mum and like
yeah,
learn
yeah,
from her on how to be a dad and get, go on little adventures and kind of see him like grow and develop and who he's going to become and kind of have these magical little moments that like I saw something on an Instagram reel this morning that blew my mind. It said babies and children do not have a memory before 4. They can't when they're older, they can't remember before 4. So everything you do now is just a gift from them to you. And I
yeah.
was like, wow, like that bath that he had this morning. We gave him his first bath this morning. What an experience together. Yes, we'd rather it was at home. Yes, I mean he was super chilled. But I ended up wetter than he was. But he's never going to remember that. That's just mine and Jodie's memory,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it sounds so cheesy and so corny, but whenever it is between now and another 60 years, when I'm lying there reflecting on life, knowing it's almost over, they're the things. And having a child is just a way to create magic moments and magic memories and but by the same token, hopefully this little boy, our little boy, will make the world a better place for more people. Like I hope I do right now, and like a lot of people do. And there is a weight of expectation, and there is a weight of like sheesh, this is real. This is real. There's no more
Yeah.
theory. There's no more talking. But also it's going to teach me so much. Like I'm going to learn how
Yeah.
to fail again. I'm going to learn what guilt really feels like when I cock something up or when I drop him or not now, but like Jodie, don't listen to this. When you have those incidents, like all parents do, where you do something wrong or you maybe shout and raise your voice and you shouldn't, or something, and it's going to. And I also believe the one big thing for me, and I always question myself, I was like, I'm going to be an old dad. Like my parents were young when they had me. My
Mhm.
dad was 23, my mum was 21. I still play five-a-side football with my dad right now, and I'm 41, and and we play together. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, when I'm 40, when Albie's 41, I'll be 82 years old. But it's going to keep me young. What a
Yeah, yeah.
gift for him to keep me young, to keep me. He'll drive me to keep myself in better shape. He'll drive me to work harder in my business. He'll drive me to create the opportunity so that we can go as a family to Disneyland or holidays that I went on, or places I went on that, my brother lives in America, to go and see him so all our children can play together and all the amazing things we want to do. Like who needs any other motivation other than that? Ask me in a few weeks when I've had some sleepless nights, and
I was
we'll
about
we'll
to say, yeah,
we'll,
yeah.
we'll see. Yeah, talk about rose tinted, but
Oh,
that's what
bless
I'm
you.
most excited for. I can't wait, and I can't wait to take him because we didn't go up Everest for Ada. I made a promise when we did the Three Peaks. I took some of Ada's ashes. We've still got them here. Um, her little symbols are stars and hearts, and two people adopted us a star or donated a star, whatever you call it, when she was born. Um, and I said to her when I was going to take her ashes to the top of the Three Peaks, the three highest mountains in the highest mountain in each country, because I wanted to take her as close to the stars as I could ever get her. And then I thought one of the reasons I did Everest was I'm going to get no, unless I'm not going to do the summit, but base camp. I'll never get closer to the stars. And I promised her I'd take her and scatter just a portion of her ashes to the stars. Um, and I've decided that that's on hold for 16 to 18 years because me and Albie are going to do it together. I offered it to Jodie, she said no.
Oh,
But me and Albie are going to go and do that together for his big sister, and I promised her I'd do it, and that's just things like that. That's going to drive me on to you
that's
know to
amazing.
to to carry her name forward as well.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what have you got planned to expand Ada's Foundation? I know you want to get on stage talking, don't you?
Yes, so a
Yeah.
few things. From a point of view of our help and support, raising as much money as we can, because I'd love to take it to other hospitals. I'd love to help more families. Obviously, Telford and Shrewsbury, our local two hospitals, are our priority. But I want to grow it to there. I want Ada's name in lights and in the stars. I'd like to be able to support and find ways to support people practically as we are now, financially through,
Yeah.
grants and that kind of thing, and also emotionally through maybe things like journaling, um, maybe coaching. I don't know, maybe coaching.
Mm.
It's a strange one to think you'd be coaching bereaved parents because it's a,
I think it's
it's a
needed
yeah,
though, and and
yeah,
because it is unfortunately it is really common,
mm,
and I think like we were saying earlier, men kind of get left out a little bit.
mm, mm.
That's I
And
think
yeah.
you'd be amazing at that, mate. Honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So maybe to do that, maybe having the courage to do that. And then also, I'd like to. One of the things that I believe I haven't done well enough yet through Ada's foundation, it's in its infancy. I mean, Ada was only born 17 months ago. It's got a
Mm.
lifetime. I've got a lifetime, but to utilize our kind of social media to grow and to a platform,
Yeah.
including podcasts like this, which I'm super grateful for, to give people the tools to deal with bad events, traumatic events, problems, of whatever they are, because in the end, I'm a believer that whether you lose somebody close to you, like I sit there and think, you know what, I hear people losing their child, losing a child when they're 5 years old, and I'm like, I never got to know Ada. I didn't have all those memories to grieve, and I think to myself now, even at 8 weeks old, like if we lost Albie, heaven forbid, like that would be so hard because we kind of getting to know him. And I never
Mm.
got that with Ada, which I feel almost fortunate from a point of view of the grieving. But
Yeah.
also, we were grie- we, I was grieving a load of missed opportunities, unrealized potential. What could she have been? She could have been like the captain of the Lionesses that lifted the World Cup, or the woman that found the cure for cancer, or the first woman on the moon. And I never got to find out if she could be that. It wouldn't have mattered if she wasn't, but she had so much unrealized potential. But in the end, loss is loss, grief is grief, and shit is shit. Like somebody who drops a tenner and it's their last tenner, that could be as big a problem as any one of the things that you know your guests. I know some of the guests you've had on who have had stuff that I think, my God, like Ada pales into like nothingness compared to amazing men like Chris Sheehan and George Charlton and people like that who like blow my mind on a daily basis. But I think we all need to equip ourselves to deal with this better. And the next person who comes out of a relationship and feels like that's the end of their life, or loses someone close to them, or loses their job, or has a car accident that results in injuries that really hamper their life, I believe I have something that I can maybe give those people that will help them just feel better. And that's all we want to do, is feel better. And so there's that side of things through spreading the word, like through free stuff on social media, and any channels I can. And as you rightly said, I'd love to do a talk about Ada's story and my journey, mine and Jodie's journey, through navigating that to hopefully raise money for the charity. I'd love for it to be a ticketed event, to raise money for the charity, but also maybe to send a handful, or however many people would want to come to that, away with maybe a different perspective or ability to deal with something they've been through, or some tools to maybe deal with stuff they might go through in the future. And I'd love to see Ada's Foundation as a big charity that's helping people all around the country, all around the world. Maybe, I mean, this happens all around the world.
You know what? I know you can do it. Like, I really know you can do it. It's absolutely heartwarming, and
thank you.
It's neat. It definitely is needed, and I think you are the person to do it without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, thank you. I hope I can.
Where can people find you if they're going through something now, or they know somebody that probably needs some help? Where can they find you?
So Ada's Foundation UK is our Facebook and Instagram page, and then my social media. If you search for Stuart Cain, I think my username is Stuart M Cain, which you'll see obviously on the name of this podcast, I guess. On my personal socials have stuff on there as well. And I would say, if anybody, and I'm not arrogant enough to believe that this is going to cause a flood of messages, but if you feel like speaking to me would make things a little bit easier or better, just send me a message. Just message me on social media, through the charity page, through my page. I love helping people. And if I can, I know full well that just speaking to somebody who'd been through what I'd been through, another man, helped me immensely. It was Ben, who I mentioned earlier. We work together with them now. I spoke to him for about 2 hours, 5 months after Ada was born. And I cried my eyes out when I came off the phone, not through sadness, not through reliving what had happened, through relief that somebody else knew how I felt. And I think that made my journey through grief and trauma and hardship way more manageable. And I'll be forever in his debt for that. And I would love to be able to provide that to one other person, let alone more than that. So anything like that. And if I do launch any coaching, if I do anything like that, I'll get that on socials. But at the moment, that's just me.
I'm gonna hound you to do that now. Obviously, after you've had a few sleepless nights and you've got used to having no sleep.
Yeah, when I'm delirious and I come up with this mad coaching idea, then I'll be blaming you. No, that's me, and I'm just grateful you've allowed me to share my daughter's story and a bit about me and Jodie.
It's so inspirational. Like, you just make me smile. Your whole mindset is just on another level. So I advise anybody, if they need to talk to you, they've got to get in contact.
Thank you.
Right, I've got one last message. I don't know whether you are aware of my question that I ask everybody. It's actually Javino's fault.
Okay,
you missed that quarterly, didn't you?
I missed that quarterly.
Yeah, what an amazing man.
But I'm
So
also going to blame George Charlton because I've watched his keynote from that 3 times and I still haven't watched Jovino's because I'm like, how's anybody going to do better than George Charlton? And that talk that just, again, blew my mind and made me feel an immense sense of gratitude and things. But here's my promise. I'm going to listen to Jovino's keynote in the next week when I'm awake in the middle of the night.
well,
Yeah.
he's got this thing. So he said it on a few podcasts,
Mhm.
and I've seen him on TikTok asking a few people. So I threw when he came on my podcast, it's the first question I threw at him, and I just made him start stuttering. So, Stuart, tell me 3 good things about yourself.
3 good things.
Yeah.
3 good things. I can see a positive in every situation, but I also recognize the negative in every situation. So I think I stay quite balanced.
Yeah.
I'm I'm fun to be around. I have a good energy. I have good enthusiasm, and I bring out the best in people around me. That was hard. That
Yeah.
was I was
I
scrambling
agree.
mentally
I
then.
will
I was like,
agree with
shit.
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, don't
You did
stutter
quite
now, don't
well.
stumble now.
Yeah, normally it throws people and they're like, and George actually batted it back to me like, on our podcast, and I was not expecting that.
Well, I'm not going to do the same because then everyone
No,
will hear
please
the
don't.
same. We'll hear the same thing. But what would you say is the best thing about you then? What do you love about yourself the most?
I am a great mom. Like mine and Ben's relationship is like unbreakable. Like it's
Yeah,
yeah, really,
I I must admit I'm very inspired, and we haven't sort of been on Facebook and Instagram for all that long. We've probably known of each other, but not.
mm,
I love seeing when you put stuff up on Facebook. Like I love the professional stuff. I love what, but seeing that relationship with your boy,
yeah.
it actually
It's
leads me on to one last little thing. I feel very fortunate to see and know and be around so many amazing parents who I can use as inspiration. I include my brothers, I include my parents, people like yourself, people like Christian, people my accountability group and all the great dads in there, and some of the mums I see of my clients who are mums. How fortunate am I to be around those people? And you're one of those people who I see.
oh, thank you.
Kath Turnbull's another one. Kath is quite an incredible woman.
Yeah,
And seeing that gives me, it just makes me realize that we've got one chance at being a parent, like one go at it. Like we
yeah,
can get it
yeah,
wrong and make changes, but
yeah. And
it's
it's not the easiest job in the world, but I will
no,
honestly say it's the best job in the world, without a shadow of a doubt.
like I'm yeah, that almost humbles me. I'm like, yeah, like yeah, it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm grateful I get to see people like yourself setting like leading the way, like setting the example because it's tough, isn't it? It's gonna be hard, and I need as many good examples as I can possibly get.
Yeah,
And I love how what one thing that does stand out for me that is if you think about all the people that you do impact through your work, through being you, like just through being the person you are, and the one thing that you rate the highest is this simplest, like in so to speak. When you think of all the complex stuff you do and all putting a podcast together and all the people that will hopefully listen to this and George's and everyone else's and be inspired by it. Yeah, the thing for you is just being a mum.
yeah,
So
yeah,
simple
yeah,
but so beautiful,
absolutely.
isn't it?
It,
It's
you know
beautiful.
what I often say to people, it's like, and it sounds very weird because obviously Ben's had his health struggles, but
Yeah,
I honestly believe that he's shown me what's important in life.
yeah, that's really yeah,
Yeah,
yes, that yeah.
and I
You
think
can't put it differently than that, can you? You can't put it any
yeah,
other way. That's
and you'll probably start noticing it as well because you've had such a journey to get to where you are now that you'll find, like when people are moaning about the weather or a queue at the chemist or something, you literally don't see that
no,
at all
no,
because it's like your priorities are completely different, and it's almost
yeah,
you have this calming effect
yes,
because
yeah.
and
And
it's
do you not think with that there's an element when you've had big stuff go wrong or big stuff big not even go wrong challenges just
yeah,
big challenges. Um, there's an element of that being a gift, because it makes the stuff that 5-6 years ago I lost my mind about,
Yeah.
got really pissed off with, got annoyed at people, like ruined my day, so to speak, because of a queue, or because I
Yeah.
forgot to take my bag for life to the shop and I had to pay 20p for another one, and get a bollocking from Jodie as well, because she hates it when I bring bags home. But those things were massive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as I say at the beginning of every talk I ever do, to the maternity department things, you will not ask me a question or throw anything at me that is worse than what happened on the 11th of December 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like nothing, like it's why Albie being in hospital, like at least he's here.
Yeah.
Like Ada isn't. And you'll have things that happen in your life and you're like, well, I've got Ben. Like we've been through worse.
Yeah.
I can deal with this.
It's one of those things. I mean, what, Ben's 19 now. We've had one hell of a journey with his condition, and
Yeah.
the whole brain up and things like that. But
Yeah.
I'm able to sit here and go, how my mindset is and his mindset is, and how we look at the world. I wouldn't change a single thing that's happened in the past,
Yep.
because it's
It all
actually
leads
made.
us to where it
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It leads us
Absolutely.
to where we are now. Yeah. Like I would love to say, I'd love to have Ada here. I'd give anything as such. That's a turn of phrase. But actually, has she done better for me and better for this world by what happened? Because we're never going to change what happened. No point fighting with that reality. And maybe she's done better. And maybe I'm going to be a better dad to Albie because of what his big sister did
Yeah.
or didn't do. Life is better for bereaved parents at Telford Hospital because of Ada.
Yeah.
Your life is where it is right now. And would you be doing things that are impacting so many people if you hadn't been through what you've been through? Possibly
Exactly.
not. Like,
No, I don't.
yeah,
Honestly, I would be. So
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. All of it.
And I hope to meet him one day.
Oh
I hope to
yes,
meet him
it's
one. That would be amazing.
yeah.
That would be amazing. But yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being such an amazing podcast, Days. And I am going to be nagging you about the coaching, because I do believe it is needed, and I do believe that you are the person to do this.
Thank you. I've got visions of standing up in the middle of a quarterly with you, like as my biggest cheerleader, making some
Yeah,
mad like promise to the whole room, and then going, "Shit, I've got to do it now.
yeah,
I've got to do it." But,
yeah.
yeah,
Stuart told me.
yeah, exactly. And he said he was going to do it by this time. And on, oh God,
Yeah.
there's going to be forfeits and all sorts in there. But there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, my lovely, and like I say, you are an absolute inspiration to me. So
Thank you.
thank you, and I
Thank
hope
you.
everybody enjoys this podcast.